great devotion for true father to work, for true mother to return to Cheonshim as soon as possible. To all of you who are offering great devotion, I offer my respect and gratitude to you and appreciation. Yesterday at Gapyeong Church, I gave special lecture, but President Gi-sung said that it would be good if I shared this at the visual, and because of that, I was able to stand here. The content I'll be sharing will be the second advent of Messiah, true Father. So, on the foundation of 5 lectures I progressed, I was able to do this lecture. Heavenly Parents' Dream, the essence of Jesus and 2,000-year history of Christianity, the historical calling of Korean people, the preparation for the birth of only begotten daughter and only begotten daughter, true mother. So after finishing all these 5 lectures, I was able to give this lecture about true Father, returning Messiah, the second advent. And at this time, let me begin the lecture. Of course, all of you may already know, but instead of thinking that I already know this, I hope you can look at this in a way that how would I send this content to people of the world? If you look at this in that way, I'm certain that this time will become very meaningful for you. As we all know, Messiah, the second coming, and only begotten daughter do not come amongst people of Jewish. Because Jewish people must pay the indemnity of sending the Jesus to the cross. Heavenly Parent cannot help but to choose new set of people to send only begotten daughter and the second coming of the Messiah. So, in the Revelation chapter 7, it is said the Lamb will come down with his Father in the Eastern nation. And what is that Eastern nation? That nation must have inherited 2,000-year history of Christianity, mission of 2,000-year Christianity history of Christianity. What about China? China has persecuted Christianity or even banned Christianity. And what about Japan? Japan had only 0.4% to 1% of Christianity from entire population. What about Korea? Amongst grand churches, Christian churches, amongst 50 grand churches around the world, 25 of them are in Korea. If you look at Korean Christianity, it's very interesting. You know, in Sunday they have, when they do service, they have morning service, afternoon service, and a morning Sunday service was not enough for them. What kind of offers they have? They have Wednesday service, and Wednesday service was not enough. They have Friday prayer gathering, and that's not enough for them. Every day, early in the morning, they have morning prayer gathering, and that was not enough as well. So they have their own prayer sanctum or training center like place where they would gather to offer 40-day fasting devotion. This is how Korea's believers devote themselves. So many prophets have prophesied that the returning Messiah, this Messiah's second coming, will come to Korea. And one of the prophets said that Korea will be the Eastern nation that will save the humanity. And this prophecy was made in 1974. And Cindy Jacobs, one of the American prophets, said that as God said, I will pour the oil to Korea. I will use Korean. These are the words of God. These are the revelation that she received. The person who received the oil is the Messiah, and the nation that received oil from God is a nation that will welcome the Messiah. As we all know, Nanette Price Johnson presented a remarkable paper stating that Maitreya Buddha of the heavenly world was a Korean wearing a crown, and she never knew about Korea. She never learned about Korean traditional clothing, but this is the drawing that she made. And who is this?
바로 우리의 참 아버님 모습과
This is,
똑같다는 것을
and
알
this
수가
painting
있습니다.
is exactly resembles true father.
문선명 참 아버님께서
Our
재림
true father,
주님이십니까?
Reverend Son Myung-moon,
이것은 우리
is he
입장에서는 사실
returning Messiah? Is he
믿음의
second coming of
영역에
the Messiah?
속합니다.
Actually,
그렇지만은
this is something
그 메시아를
that
알 수
we
있는
must
방법이
believe,
없는 것도
but that doesn't
아닙니다.
mean we don't have
메시아가
anything to prove.
되기 위해서는
In order for one
일정한
to become
자격을
Messiah,
갖추지 않으면 안 됩니다.
qualification must
첫
be met.
번째로는
First of all,
하나님의 인침을 받아야 됩니다.
one must
요한복음
be
6장
sealed by God
27절에 인자는
that
아버지
he
하나님의
is the son of
인치신
man.
자라고 말씀하셨던 바와
In
같이
John chapter
아무리
6, verse
내가
27,
메시아가 되고 싶어도 하나님의 인침을 받지 않으면
I am God's
메시아가
Father,
될 수
God's
없습니다.
Son.
두 번째로는
So one
진리의
must receive, one
말씀을
must be sealed by God.
갖고 있어야
And secondly,
됩니다.
the Messiah must
우리
be the one who
인간은
comes with
먹는
God's truth.
것으로만 사는 것이 아니고
In Matthew chapter
바로
4, verse 4,
하나님의 입으로 나오는 그
says that
말씀을
human beings shall
통해서
not live
그
by bread alone,
영인체가
but by every word that comes from the mouth
완성이
of
되기
God.
때문에
And through
진리의
this, we can perfect our
말씀을
spiritual
갖고
body.
계셔야 됩니다.
So that is why the
세
Messiah
번째로는
must have
아무리
God's
말씀이
truth.
좋아도
Thirdly,
그
no matter
삶이
how good the
인격과
message the
삶이
Messiah gives,
말씀과
if
다르다면
his life is
그분은
different
메시아가
than what he
될 수가
speaks, he
없습니다.
cannot become the
네 번째로는
Messiah.
바로
Fourthly,
메시아적인 업적이 있는가
one
하는
must have
것을 봐야
accomplishment
합니다. 그렇기 때문에
accomplishment
예수님도
that a
자신을
Messiah-like
믿지
level.
못하는 유대인들에게
So
설령 나를 믿지 아니할지라도
even Jesus
내가
said to
행한
people
그
of Jewish
일만은 믿으라.
that even if you don't believe me, believe in what I
아버지께서
do.
내
If you
안에
do,
계시고
you
아버지 안에
realize that
있음을
I am within
깨달아
Father and Father
알리라라고
is within me.
말씀을 하셨던
These
것입니다.
are the word of
그래서
Jesus.
메시아를 알 수 있는 이
So,
네 가지 관점에서
From these
저는
four
오늘
different perspectives
참
of
아버님을
understanding whether one is a
소개하고자
Messiah, I would
합니다.
like to introduce true Father.
하나님의 인침을 받았는가?
First, did
이 내용은
our true Father receive
참
God's
아버님의
sealing?
입장에서 볼 때는
From
팩트입니다.
true Father's point of view, this is
근데
fact.
우리들의
But from
입장에서
our
보면
point of view,
믿어야 되는
it's
영역입니다.
something that we must believe. It's area of faith.
참 아버님께서는
So,
1935년 4월
in
17일 하늘로부터
on April 17,
천명을
1935,
받으셨다고
true Father
하셨습니다.
received heavenly mission
아버님께서는
from
세 번이나
from the Spirit of heaven.
거절하셨다고
And true Father
하셨기
said
때문에
he denied three
예수님께서는
times. So
하나님께
Jesus
그것을
went
다시
back to God
여쭈어
and asked God
보았을 때
again.
너밖에
And what
없다라는
God said,
답을
there's no one else but you who can do it.
받으셨다고 하셨습니다.
These are the messages that your
너밖에
Father
없다는
received.
말씀
Within
속에는
the words, there is no
바로
one else
태어날
but you
때부터
who can do it.
하나님의
Is the meaning
인침을
that from the
받고
moment of birth, one
태어났다는
was
것을
he was born having
의미하는
received
것입니다.
God's seal.
그리고
Also,
원리를 찾아 나가는 과정
on the
속에서
course of finding the
40일
principle,
동안
for
영계에
40 days
입성한
he
그런
entered the spirit
또
world
시간이
and
있었다고
experienced
하셨습니다.
the spirit world.
찾아내신 말씀을
The words that he
하나님과
found,
사대 성인은 물론
not only God and
사탄에게까지도
for saints,
전하셨지만
but also he
부인을
shared
당하셨다고
with
하셨습니다.
Satan, but he
아버님께서는
was
40일
denied.
동안
For 40 days,
그
our
진리의
true Father
말씀을 인정받지 못했을
could not
때
be recognized with
3일을
his
더
truth that he's
연장해서
found. He extended 3 more days and he
하셨다고
shared his
하셨습니다.
words to them.
그 내용은
The contents
사탄이를 구원할 수 있는 길을
was that
제시하지 못했기 때문에
was
아무리 진리의
the
말씀이
content he shared
맞다 해도
was
그것을 인정할 수가
the
없었다는
truth that she
것입니다.
shared could
그래서
not
3일을 더
find the path for
연장해가지고
Satan to be
사탄까지도 구원할 수 있는 그 길을
saved.
제시했을 때
That is why he
사탄이는
couldn't
더 이상
be
아무 말을
approved.
못했기
But
때문에
once he found a path for
하나님께서는
Satan to be
그 이마에
to receive salvation, Satan cannot see
말씀을
anything.
주셨던
And
것입니다.
and after giving those
이것은
words, God was
아버님께서
able to
받은
give
입장에서는
seal to true
팩트지만
mother's forehead.
우리의
So
입장에서는
from true
믿어야
father's
되는
point of view,
부분입니다.
it's a fact for
그렇기
him.
때문에
It's a factual history.
우리는
But for us, it's something that we must
하늘로부터
believe. So
응답을 받아야 됩니다.
we must
그것이
receive
정말
answer
맞느냐,
from heaven,
틀리느냐.
whether it is wrong, right or
응답이
wrong.
없어서는 이 신앙을 가기가
Without this,
어렵습니다.
we cannot move on with our
그래서
life of faith.
일세
So that is why our first generation elder members, if you look at their life course, everyone, most of them had spiritual experiences. Even myself, when I was in first grade of high school, I was Catholic believer. I have a name, Andre, Catholic name. But one day, I started to question about life and faith very deeply. So, from Catholic believer, I went to the priest, I went to my master, but I couldn't find any answer. So I crazily went around to search for Christianity to find the answer. Even though I ran around to find Christians, I couldn't find any answer. From that moment, for 3 months, I prayed in my room by myself. Matthew chapter 7, verse 7. If you find it, if you seek it, you'll find him. If you knock on the door will be open. I only knew those Bible verses. So with those Bible verses, clinging on to those Bible verses, I prayed for 3 months from morning. Every day from morning to dinner, night, I cried and cried. Why? Because I was at a position where I couldn't receive answer and I didn't know the truth. So my eyesight was 1.5, but after 3 months, my eyesight dropped 0.3. And once I realized that I couldn't receive any answer, now is the only path left for me is to die. So I was walking. I came out of my room after 3 months. I started walking, thinking to myself, how should I die? And far from me, there was an old man who was watching me. And that man came to me and gave me his flyer. And I didn't know what kind of flyer this was. And I felt like that was the answer that God wanted to give us. But the flyer it said was something about like communism, about how to start a new life. The moment I received the flyer and think that that flyer is my answer to heaven, to God, I wanted to ask something, but the old man didn't say anything. He just gave me flyer. He just passed by, and I had a heart that, why don't we just grab me and tell me something? And as soon as I had that heart, that old man suddenly called me. Hey, do you have time? So I said, yes, I do. And he said, can you come to me? My house, and I asked, where's your house? I met him at Cheonshim. He told me that his house is Kunsan. From Cheonshim to Kunsan, it's hours of driving, and he was asking me to his house hours away, but I was about to kill myself, so I didn't have anything left. So I followed him, and at first I felt like he might be someone really bad person who would sell my body to other people. And when I said, and when he brought me to his van, there were young people sitting next to me, and I thought to myself, these people are trying to sell my body. But when I went there, thankfully, gratefully, it wasn't a place of selling bodies, but it was Unification Church. And for all night, he taught about divine principle, but he didn't understand everything. So there's limitation, and so he played a video about divine principle. So I watched it all night long. And after this, I joined the 3-day workshop. And as soon as I listened to principle of creation, I started to cry. And cry. I didn't know the content, but through the lecture, based on the words I received, instead of understanding what it said, but I felt Heavenly Parent working through me and giving me the grace, telling me that you have come well. This is the truth that you've been looking for. These are the words I received from God. And for the first time in my life, I realized how much Heavenly Parent loved me. And after that moment onward, I was awakened anew. And I was able to absolutely believe in true parents. This course was not just my own course. All the elder members of first generation have the this kind of spiritual experience. I'm pretty sure many of first generation members have this kind of experience. So That is why True Mother is asking all of us to receive answer from Cheonshim from True Father directly. As our second and third generation come to this place, pray at Cheonshim, experience Heavenly Parents' love, and they are started to be awakened. They are awakened anew as they receive True Father's words, and we are witnessing even today through our future generation. That is why, through the answer we receive from heaven, we should be able to realize that True Father and True Mother are the Savior, are the Messiah, are true parents of entire humankind. Secondly, for Messiah's qualification, the second qualification of Messiah is whether Messiah have the truth. In Bible, they have 66 chapters of the Bible, and they're reading again and again. But if you look around the world, there are 500 denominations. So that is why in John chapter 16, verse 25, when the time comes, I will not use metaphors, but I will reveal Father, who Father is without metaphor. And too many people and many kings and nations, I will send the prophets. And True Father told us that he had a time to prepare himself before he walked the path of Messiah. And the core thing that True Father prayed was, what is the essence and what is fundamental principle of the universe? And True Father said this is very simple. It is a parent-child relationship, relationship between human and God, or like the relationship of parent and child. Once True Father realized this, everything aligned perfectly. So all the contents that we're studying, contents of the principle that we're studying, it is all about the fact that God and human relationship is just like the relationship of parent and child. Everything revealed centering on this concept. So that is why Hong Il-sik, former Korea University principal, what he said was this unification principle, unification theology is the universal value that will lead 21st century. So these core points of the new truth should be able to reveal God's reality and heart the best. As I listen to the principle, I realized that, wow, God is like my father and mother. Even as I attended Catholic Christian churches, I only thought God as something that whom I should be fearful about, someone whom I should be afraid of. But through the principle, I was able to realize that God is my parent. Secondly, the new truth must uproot the being of evil, Satan. Even in the spiritual-led group, they receive revelation that fall has happened through the sex. And the main spiritual group was New Jesus Church, Holy Lord Church. But that was it. They didn't reveal why Satan became Satan. What is the motivation that drove Satan to become Satan? Nobody revealed the actual truth about Satan. But this new truth revealed who true Satan is. Also, it reveals the value of human beings the best. Right now, I used to attend Sonak UP Graduate School, formerly called Cheonshim Graduate School, and I was the first student to graduate this school. And during that time, Kim Jin-chun brother Kim Jin-chun was the principal. And for the first graduates, Cheonshim Graduate School, there were 30 people. And among 30 people, I was told to go out to the church and become a pastor. And among 30, I was the only one who was asked to become a pastor. So upon hearing this, it was very difficult for me to accept. If I had other colleagues, other 2 or 3 other colleagues going to becoming a pastor like me, it would be fine for me. But it was difficult to accept, and eventually I accepted it, and I waited for the call, a phone call to a phone call, and I accepted it as the heaven's will. And after a few months later, I received a phone call. I received a phone call from the Family Federation administrative office director, and what he said was, "Hello, there is a Gangwon, there's a church in Gangwon. There's another church. There were only 2 people, and during that time, there was a director of administrative office of Family Federation of President Gisao. So I told him that I will send you wherever you want me to go. And what he told me was that since you're a young person, why don't you go to church that has only 2 blessed families? I told him, please send out the official document. So after I graduated Cheonshim Graduate School, I became a pastor at a church where I only had 2 blessed families. So, because I only had 2 blessed families, I couldn't do much. So all I did was I went out to the street and started witnessing. And as I went out to witness, one day there was a young man who was sitting at the bench at the park, and I went to him, approached him, and asked him, can we have a talk? Can I talk to you? And he said yes. So I was able to talk. And what he said was, is there something that humans better than minerals and animals and plants? There's not. I don't feel any value within myself, and I don't want to live. And this is what he started to open to me. And at that time, fortunately, I made all the contents I prepared for in a binder to show, and this is how I explained about the value of humans. Humans have all the characteristics and contents that minerals have. Just like the plant, minerals have plants, we have hair. Just as earth has earth crust, we have skin. Just as groundwater, we have muscles and blood vessels. Just like rock layers with skeleton, just magma layer, we have bone marrow. And also, the earth is composed of 70% ocean, and the body water we have is 70%. Land is 30%. We have solids 30%. Just like 5 oceans, 6 continents, we have 5 organs and 6 viscera. Just as the world is 12 months, we have 12 ribs. In 12 solar terms, we have 12 joints. 24 solar terms, we have 24 joints. We have everything that mineral world has. And all the contents that plants have, we also have them. Just like our humans are made out of cells, just like plants. Just like the root, we have stomach, where we can receive nutrients. Just like the stem, we have the heart to spread the nutrients to all parts of our body. We have leaf, just like the leaf, we have lung, we receive oxygen. And just like xylem and phloem, we have arteries and veins. And we also have all the contents that animals have, the structure and function of the animal world, the vocalization function of all animals. For instance, if cats start barking like a dog, I'm certain that that cat will come out as something miracle. But humans have all the sounds that animals can make. That is how we can mimic any other animals. All human body have all the beauty of the world, so humans can show the most beautiful aspect of this world. And going farther, in the angelic world, in the spirit world, that even humans have the spiritual elements, and humans have spiritual body. That is why humans going beyond universe, we have the value of cosmos. Going beyond that, we have value of God. That is human beings. That's how I explained about what the value of human beings to this college man. And upon hearing this, what he said was, until I entered university, this is the first time hearing the value of humans. From elementary school to university, nobody taught anyone about the value of human beings. How serious is this? So that is why principle is very important. Through the principle, not only God, but also we can fully understand about value of human beings. This is what the truth should reveal. As I go out to witnessing, not only did I witness to young people, but also I witnessed to the principal of schools. Also, this new truth must reveal the spirit world the best. Going beyond them, it also reveals the value of Jesus the best, but the best. Many Christians say that Unification Church denied Jesus. However, Jesus, who came as a king of the kings, people of Jewish gave him the crown of thorns, and in order to liberate that sorrowful heart of Jesus, true parents held the enthronement ceremony, coronation ceremony of Jesus with people of Islam, Christianity, and Jewish, and held that ceremony for Jesus to liberate that sorrowful heart. Not only that, but also God cannot help but to be sad whenever he sees the cross. So in America, parents made a movement where all the cross in Christian churches can be taken out. So true parents were the ones who understood Jesus the most and God the most. Not only that, but also the new truth introduces the core of the Bible and other world scriptures the best. So that is why true parents were able to create their own scripture that covers all entirety of the religion. Also, it reveals human history the best, especially the fact that entire human history has been providence of restoration through indemnity. Also, it reveals the value of true family the best, and it allows us to realize what God's dream is, Heavenly Parents' dream is, and we're able to fully understand that family is the greatest value that true parents, Heavenly Parents wanted to give us, and family is the fundamental group that can enter heaven. So, no matter how good the truth is, if Messiah one's character is different from the truth that he reveals, he cannot be Messiah. So, true Father's motto was to dominate over his own body before he dominates the universe. There are three weapons of Satan, that is eating, sleeping, and sexual desire. Because he knew all the three weapons, he tried to dominate over three things. So until 30 years old, he only ate 2 meals a day, and the reason was because he feels very closest when he feels hungry. He closest to God when he feels hungry. And he even tell himself, how can someone who does not even have a nation claim the right to eat 3 meals a day? So even before he ascended the spirit world, sometimes in order to save money to help others, he only ate 1 meal a day. And on birthdays, he didn't eat at all. He fasted. And to dominate over sleeping, he slept in a place to discipline himself regarding sleep. During his middle school year in Uksokdom, he voluntarily practiced cold room living, even in the harsh winter when temperature went down to below negative 20 degrees Celsius. So he slept no more than 3 hours a day. Even when sleeping, he said a person who has not yet resolved God's deep grief cannot lie comfortably facing heaven, so he always slept on his side. Look at your father. Isn't he handsome? He's really handsome. So a lot of women really followed true father. Even when he was in Japan studying abroad, there was a woman who tried to seduce father by being naked in true father's room and waiting for him. And also when he was in Hwanghae Island, there was a wealthy daughter from a wealthy family who tried to tempt our true father by trying to provide him with the money that she had. So for 9 years before he began his life course as Messiah, what did he accomplish? First, he He was able to make victory, to dominate over himself. He was able to find the principle, and he was able to practice true love and make the victory after victory through that. And many Japanese might know, you may know this, but this is a street in Tokyo. In this place, True Father worked as a deliverer. He didn't eat lunch. In order to support his friend who couldn't eat lunch, he would give his lunch to his friend. And he even, whatever the money received from parents, he shared with neighbors who were having a hard time. And he worked and earned his own money. So in order to love these people as a brother, as a mother, I couldn't, unless I rehab that heart, I cannot enter God's realm. So in order to feel that, I practiced going, and I even practiced this in Japan. And for weeks, I didn't go to school and work for students who could not graduate. So he has loved the life of true love. And as he lived life of true love, in October 1944, he was imprisoned in Gyeonggi, the police department. The reason was that during his studies in Japan, he had engaged in underground independent activity, and he was tortured as they demanded that he hand over the list of more than 100 independent activists. The Our True Father endured harsh tortures, including tightening and twisting wooden boards around the body. Imagine your back, your hands are tied at the back, and they hang this arm on the ceiling. So this is the torture that he received. Airplane torture where both arms were tied and he was hung and beaten. Forced endless water intake and stomping on the swollen stomach. So he would throw up once his stomach is filled with water and it's stomped, right? But this police would make True Father drink water again to make him throw up again. And they also inserted wooden stick behind the knees and stepping on it with shoes stuffed with nails. And the hardest torture that True Father had to endure was electric torture applied to all 10 fingers. And who is this policeman who tortured, lived life of true love? In October 1944, he was imprisoned in Gyeonggi, the police department. The reason was that during his studies in Japan, he had engaged in underground independent activity, and he was tortured as they demanded that he hand over the list of more than 100 independent activists. Our True Father endured harsh tortures, including tightening and twisting wooden boards around the body. Imagine your back, your hands are tied at the back, and they hang this arm on the ceiling. So this is the torture that he received. Airplane torture where both arms were tied and he was hung and beaten. Forced endless water intake and stomping on the swollen stomach. So he would throw up once his stomach is filled with water and it's stomped, right? But this police would make True Father drink water again to make him throw up again. And they also inserted wooden stick behind the knees and stepping on it with shoes stuffed with nails. And the hardest torture that True Father had to endure was electric torture applied to all 10 fingers. And who is this policeman who tortured our True Father? He is Kumada Harashi in Miyazaki area. But this person received blessing in 2002, and this policeman, he's the enemy for True Father, right? But in 1945, when liberation came in Korea, these Japanese soldiers could not go back. The policemen could not go back. And the family of this police officer who tortured him, there was one person who secretly helped this family cross over to Japan safely, and he was our True Father. Saving this one person is loving all of Japan in representative form. From now on, young Japanese people will come toward me. This is the prophet that True Father made, and just as true parents said, and prophesied,
왔습니다.
many Japanese young people came to Korea. Do you know who they are? Our second and third
부모님을
generations.
일본 분으로 두신 분 손 한번
Raise your
들어보세요.
hand if your mother is Japanese.
손 한번 높이 들어보세요. 예,
Or father is
그렇습니다.
Japanese.
이렇게 많이 있습니다.
We have many members whose
바로
one of
여러분들의
parents
어머니이십니다.
is Japanese.
이 한국
And
땅에
So
독도
young
문제,
Japanese members
또
came to
위안부
Korea,
문제가 벌어질
and
때마다
whenever there's a problem with
한국
Japan
국민들에게
and
고개를
relationship
숙이면서
between Korea and Japan,
죄송합니다고
these
사죄를
Japanese
외치는
members
이 일본
were the
여성들이
ones to
바로
step up and
축복을 받고
apologize to
한국
Korea.
땅에 온 우리
These are
여러분들의
our blessed
엄마,
families. These are
아버지입니다.
our mothers and
그것을
fathers.
보는
And
한
upon
한국의
looking at these
어르신께서
Japanese brothers and
일본의
sisters,
총은
one
미워하지만
other
평화를 사랑하는
person in Korea,
당신들은
what he said was,
존경합니다.
although I hate the
라고
guns of Japan,
감탄을
but I
했던
respect
것입니다.
all of you
바로
who
이분들이
love the
이렇게 할
peace.
수 있었던
The
원동력이
reason,
어디냐?
the driving force for our brothers,
참
Japanese brothers, sisters to
부모님의
do this was
참사랑의
because
삶이 동기가 되었기
because of true
때문입니다.
parents'
그렇죠?
life of true love. Isn't
우리
that
2세,
right?
3세 여러분들의
Our second and
어머니,
third
아버지를
generation,
위해서
for
박수
your
한번
mothers and fathers,
보내드릴까요?
why don't we give a big round of applause? Whose parents, one of the parents or parents are Japanese.
아버님께서는 또한
Also
1948년도
in
2년 8개월
1948,
동안
for
흥남
2
감옥에서
years
수감 생활을 하셨습니다.
and 8 months, he's
그
been in
이유는
prison at Hungnam prison.
바로
The reason
기성교회
was
이단
that
규정으로
83 accusations submitted to the communist authorities and established churches declaration of heresy. Those who joined the Unification Church had previously been exemplary believers in existing churches. He was branded as a destroyer of families because whoever met True Father and went to True Father's church, they didn't go back to family. So with this, they imprisoned True Father, and we already know this. How?
마음 자세가 어땠느냐?
Let me share how
감옥에
True Father's
있어서
heart was.
구세주가 못 되는 것이 평화 시대 구세주라고
Not being
판단을
able to become a savior in the
그는
prison.
가짜 구세주예요
And if he
하고
says that he is the savior in the
하셨던
peaceful
것입니다.
world, then that person is false savior. This is a testimony. Many people
대부분인데 문
do not
선생은
share what
그렇지
the
않고
food they have in the prison, but Reverend Moon wasn't like that. When someone is sick, he would pray for that person. And he also shared the contents about the church, and he was truly different from others. He acted differently from others. So that is why we cannot help but call him the holy man.
예, 같이 수감 생활을 했던 우리 한 분의 소감.
And this was testimony of a person who used to live with True Father in the prison. And also when True Father met Director Kim Il-sung, it was actually in Hungnam. As True Father passed Hungnam prison, don't you think True Father would have thought about his period of imprisonment? For 2 years and 8 months, he overcame that in the prison, and Kim Il-sung was the leader who sent him to sent True Father to Hungnam prison. So in a way, True Father was for True Father, Kim Il-sung was enemy, but he embraced Kim Il-sung with love, and because of his accomplishment, for the first time in newspaper in North Korea, the word God has appeared. And also, True Father lived with true love, even making his enemies to naturally submit to him. So that is why True Father said the sweat is for the land, tears are for the humanity, and blood is for heaven. And that is why he had to love his enemies. You know, and fourth qualification of Messiah is to have accomplishment. You know, true parents have too many accomplishments, so I usually talk within 4 achievements. First is the key to solving the collapse of family and society. Second, he has the key to peaceful unification of North and South Korea. Thirdly, true parents have the keys to interreligious, interracial, international, and world peace. Fourthly, True parents' world level achievement is that they have comprehensive peace achievement in all fields. We cannot explain everything, But
문제를 한번 우리 한국을 놓고
but
보더라도
I explain within this four contents. When we look at family and society, Korea is number one in ratings,
넘습니다.
divorce rate in Asia. Korea is number one in suicidal rate, number one in abortion rate, number one in low birth rate. So the reason why the societal problem occurs is because of the family. That is why, in order to create ideal, without making family into ideal family, world peace cannot be achieved. So that is why true parents make cross-cultural marriage, especially the enemy nations must break down the walls of the borders and have the cross-cultural marriage, and true parents have walked that path. On the 10th anniversary of establishment of World Times, President Kim Dae-jung, who was president at the time, attended this, and he was the only one and only president who attended this gathering during his presidency, and he asked a question to the father. It's really difficult for me to make one region to come into one heart, but how can you, Reverend Sun Myung-moon, were you able to have cross-cultural marriage, uniting nation from all around the nation, all around the world? Do you think this can be done by president? Do you think this UN Secretary General can do this? This is something that human can do. Only Messiah of humanity, only true parents can hold cross-cultural marriage between nations, especially enemy nation. And as you all know, in July 29, 1993, in America, what true parents proclaim is that family is the basic unit of the kingdom of heaven. And family is the place where true love is realized. It is foundation of world peace. And that is why on that day, true parents proclaim the Parents' Day. The fourth week of July is the Parents' Day. And not only that, but also they have moved various activities in regards to the open, the peace world, centering on interreligious, interracial, and international. So, true parents received the Peace Prize from 10,000 different NGO organizations. In front of 10,000 different organizations. Also, true parents put a lot of effort into Middle East. They have pushed forward with peace rally in Jerusalem. And in 2003, when Iraq war broke out, true parents believed that this might break into World War III, and this is the collision between two different cultures, two different religions. So, in this Jerusalem gathering, 3 different religions have come together to have this peace rally: Christianity, Islam, and one other nation. And this is the biggest peace rally that ever happened in Middle East. Unprecedented record was set. And not only that, but also, true parents said that UN is not going the right path, and and many nations are focused only on their own interests. So, in order to revive UN, true parents established Universal Peace Federation (UPF), and they didn't just do it. They brought 120 Christian pastors to Korea from America, and what these Christian pastors did was that they went around Korea and read true parents' peace messages without any making any changes. And I still remember that time because I met a Christian pastor from America who read true parents' words in front of everyone. Not only that, but also true parents brought this 120 peace ambassadors from America to Lebanon during the time when there broke out war, and they sent out the peace messages. And with all these leaders, centering on these leaders, true parents were able to hold blessing marriage for 144,000 couples of religious
뭐
leaders.
때문에 하는 것입니까?
And why are we working on these tunnels that connects to Korea to Japan and to Russia to Alaska? How long it takes
12시간에서
from
13시간 걸리죠.
Korea to America by flight? It takes about 11 to 13 hours, right? But in the future, we will reach America in 2 hours. We'll be able to
그런 시대가 오면 비자가 사라집니다.
the technology will develop for us to make us to travel from Korea to America in 2 hours. And if that happens, the visa is not necessary. And true parents realize that this is the path to break the borders between the nation. That is why true parents push forward with this movement. Also, there are many things, countless things that true parents they've made accomplishment in countless areas. In sports, in media, in education, in religion, in economics, in science, in culture and arts. Throughout all the areas, true parents made accomplishments. Who are true parents knowing this? Is true parents a religious leader? Some people might say, what are you talking about? Reverend Sun Myung-moon is a businessman. Is he a businessman? And some people might say, that's not it. He's an educator. He made a Bridgeport University, Summer University, some Cheonshim Graduate School. He made many schools. What are you talking about? And others might say, he's a media man. And people say that he is a sportsman, etc. They made so much accomplishment in many areas. What is the identity of true parents? That is why we cannot just call true parents as the religious leader. We cannot, that title cannot hold and explain about true parents. True parents have accomplished and made foundation in all areas. That is why true parents cannot be contained in one area. And that is why, because that is possible because they are the Messiah. They are true parents. And the course that foundation that true parents laid, their children, us, should be able to go into that and step on the foundation to make fruit. We should not reach our hands to True Mother asking for our support, asking her, please True Mother do this for me, please True Mother do this for us. If we work like this, we cannot accomplish heaven's will, heaven's mission. So, when I look at President, he doesn't have a single day to rest. Sometimes I feel like, oh, he must rest, but he doesn't rest at all. He is moving forward with life or death determination, and he is leading Cheonshim and training center in that conviction. So, with that conviction, so because of his effort, I see second and third generation revive, and I am very amazed to see second and third generation. Even Sundays and Saturdays on weekends, they offer visual devotion. Even after spirituality workshop, spiritual academy, there are people who are raising their hand to go out to the world as missionaries. I will go to Africa, I will go to Europe, I will go to South America. Nobody forced them to go. They voluntarily have their heart to go out to the world to share their love. As I look at second, third generation, do you see hope or not? I truly see the hope. Don't you agree? So, in this last battle we fight, the era where we must glorify our True Mother highest, and we must boast about true parents' life course and their accomplishments. In order to accomplish all that, I believe we must move forward more tightly with Cheonshim devotion. So, with mountain-like devotion, all of you who are here today, our brothers and sisters around the world, to all the brothers and sisters, to all the leaders, why don't we give a big round of applause to each other with encouragement. With this, I would like to conclude my Hyojong lecture, special lecture. Thank you.
참 아버님의 위상과 가치를 너무나
Our